Might I ask that we not all go polar? And I didn't say tolar, I didn't say postal, I said polar. P. Well, wait a minute, does that work this way? I don't know. Well, then I just won't put anything up there. How about that? Uh, got into it. Now, my son and I had a discussion yesterday about movies. And we were talking about the different movies that I liked. And some of my favorite movies are really, really old, like Laura, back from the day. And he kept saying he didn't understand how I could favorably compare the movies that I watched back from the 40s and the 50s and all the way up when everything now is so much better. It's so much more real and the acting is so much more natural. And it is. And that is true. But everything has to be appreciated in its period and in its time. And there's no need to have a hierarchy of what's better. And that's what we do all day long. And it's good for views, get into a tussle about get into a tussle about well, who's better? Well, who was ever the best? This was this in the best era. It doesn't matter really. But he kept trying to say, I I'm using different criteria, and it's okay to use different criteria. And there needs to be no good, better, best. There can be a lot of great things, and if you embrace the world and you wrap it around it and try to enjoy it for what it is, you'll be less likely ooh. Now I know on the tube they get into arguments for views' sake. But don't let them catch you up. They making money off of that. Don't let them catch you up in that with your polarized thinking. Because then I told him, he says, you're starting to think in polarized. Well, which is better then? But which is the best? Well, no, I don't think this is, everything can be appreciated. Not everything. There's some things you just can't appreciate. But, can it should be appreciated within its own context. And wouldn't it be cool to enjoy 97 things that were okay, good, great, da da da, instead of one thing that is the best? Just we tend to think so, this or that, A or B. You're either a patriot or a terrorist. It's not like that. I mean, you can try and read me from across the room. But if you do, you miss all the fine print. And the fine print is where your humanity is. The fine print is in the little odd things about you. You know, I don't think I did what I did on divorce court because I was intellectually capable and went to good schools. I think I did what I could do on divorce court, which a lot of you have said you've enjoyed and gotten something out of because I'm a little quirky. I'm a little off track. And my mother had to spend her entire life, wrapping me up, you know, whatever she needed to do to get me out of the house, running around, or doing something I needed to do. She used to listen to my girlfriend Kay. And Mom had a car. Mom would always give Kay the car keys because, if I had to drive, we wouldn't go nowhere. But Kay would, that chick was glacial. My son and I were talking about the word glacial too the other day. I love glaciality. Is that a word? Things that are glacial. The things that have glacial features. I don't know. I have to look it up. But I love them because I've been my husband was glacial. He was just very, 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 very cool. I love people like that. That's why I married him. Ping pong balls like me can't marry another ping pong ball. You got to marry Glacial. He was like a padded room. I could do anything. And I could, it was exciting to have the ability to go for broke when I know I got Captain Fantastic. Checking my corners. Go on, baby. Work it. Checking my corners. Back. Oh, you got a problem? Back up here. Ain't have to worry about it. And that's the thing I think, it's not what I miss the most. It's the thing I miss most often is his here-ness. You know what I mean? Just the fact that he was in the world, even if I was somewhere else, I knew there was an anchor. And my ship, no matter how sad it was not going to just drift off into sea because I had an anchor. And I miss my anchor. I collect. I was changing the subject because I want to. I collect the things that men say to me on this thing when I talk about my husband. And some people say I tend to be unnecessarily negative or take negative things towards me too seriously. And one lady said, and I wrote it down. Yeah, I write. I can't. I write on this called Remarkable, and it's writing. It's like writing on paper. Then you can convert it to text and send it out. Choo choo, tangent, 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 choo choo, tangent, 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 tangent. It's fun to enjoy your own foolishness because you can have fun all day. Because I'm a fool all day. But isn't it too much? Oh, I monitor and critique myself a great deal. Isn't that just too much pressure? How can you feel good about yourself if you're always picking yourself apart? And here's the thing. First of all, I don't always pick myself apart, but I'm always looking at myself, looking at what's happening up there. You got to know where you are all day long. And I never had the luxury of just getting up and just being blissful and going through the day because I'm an emotional chick. I'm a moody chick, and I gotta. But I was in a profession where I had to be so level and so steady. So you have to learn, emotional management can be learned. My mother knew it just because she just happened to be good at it. But she taught me to keep looking at myself. And I remember it's like, how do you piss off a room full of judges? I tell you what you do. You go up there, which is what I did. At a speaking engagement, a room full of about 100 judges, and I said, every single solitary one of you is prejudiced. And the extent to which you do not recognize that, the extent to which you're doing the wrong thing. And I got everybody all upset. But I was talking about it, but we're all prejudiced. I have prejudices. I just want to make sure I know what they are. I want to know if someone comes up to me and says something to me that who he is or where he's from or whatever isn't reminding me of something someone else had done. I remember one time this guy came in. I wrote this in my book, My Mother's Rules. A guy came in and he was Muslim, and he said to me, he was on a traffic ticket, and he says, I'm not, what did he say? I'm not bound by the laws of man, I'm bound by the laws of Allah. And I got so hot. I could feel my neck burning, and I thought, that's wrong, Lynn, to be that angry about that statement, because more than one Christian has come in there and said to me, especially this one guy he used to get into with his wife all the time. He was claiming that, he was doing God's work and stuff and all that kind of stuff. I lead by God and blah, 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 blah. But, God never said to do what you did. But anyway, so I wanted to go home, and I had to examine why I felt that jacked up about what he said. And there were two reasons. One, I gotten married a while ago, and one of my stepsons had just converted to Islam, and he was very about it, and he would be, no pork shall hit my fork. Whenever I do a grocery list, I would put pork chops on there, which I never learned to make worth anything. So I don't know if he was just going for survival or what, but one of them wrote on there, no pork shall hit my fork. And I didn't think that was necessary, but they were kids and all that. And then I remember the first Muslim that I ever met was in 1976, maybe, and he married a friend of my sister's, and while administering discipline to her, I killed her. And so that was the only two personal experience I've had with Islam. And now, and they got together and they created an emotional response. And I made sure that I treated that guy exactly like anybody else. And I think every judge should always have. I wrote a whole book called Naked. I just found it the other day, a whole book, about 120 pages, about, you know, the necessity for judges to, pick apart how they feel and pick about their community and their culture to make sure that, nothing causes you disgust more than something your culture just doesn't like. Like, in some cultures, it's just wrong for a widow to eat fish for a year or something. It's just disgusting to them if they were to do it. Or in some cultures, holding hands. In Saudi Arabia, men hold hands all the time. Different over here, and people over here will think that dudes holding hands is not cool. Because they might be homophobic or just this is not the culture over here. So, don't get all in your feelings about how you feel about something until you find out if your feelings are appropriate and if you are not. And if you're dealing with somebody in a culture or with ideas or something that you don't know, something that you're not familiar with, don't go judging it. Because the first thing that happens to you when we're met with something new, the first thing your brain does says, "Uh-oh, this ain't good. I haven't seen it before. I don't know anything about it, and I'm afraid." That's the first feeling you get, and that happens before your big brain, your non-reptile brain gets the news that something is going on. So don't let your initial emotional reactions just slip, slide, and slobber all over you. And I don't, and every time I pick myself apart, I get better, and I get a kick out of it. Like I never could have done that work on that dollhouse like that years past because I'm impatient. But now I can sit there. I put on my goggles when I'm supposed to. I'm just saying, don't get stuck in polar opposites and things. And I'm not sure what I came here to say, but I do know I'm supposed to say subscribe and hit notify. And if you have any questions for me that you want me to answer, click on the link below. It says Judge Lynn, Ask Judge Lynn, and you can ask me. And if you want any of my books, they're down there too. Y'all have a great day. I can't remember where I came, but I had a good time. I hope you did too.